The challenges in creating true remote work policies. The daunting task of creating comprehensive policy to address remote working is far more complex than a typical approach, due to a series of different considerations. Organizations not only have to review the basic components of an HR policy, compensation, benefits, total rewards, etc., but also must address the complexities of potential tax matters, for example, tax status, exemptions, filing requirements, compliance with local regulations, and so on for a distributed workforce. Further, corporate HR mobility professionals must determine, to the best of their ability, which roles are suitable for remote work, and how individuals can be successful in a remote capacity. And when all is said and done, wherein lies the responsibility for administering the many facets of remote work policy? The tax challenge. Expertise, whether in-house or external, is a necessity for grasping the ins and outs of the tax implications for both the employer and employee. Consider. With remote work a reality, some employees might have chosen to work temporarily while visiting family or even handle their jobs from a sun-filled beach spot to help ease the COVID-19 worries. A workforce now distributed in multiple individual locations means that the company must know how to properly report wages and withhold tax from an employee's pay when the employee may or may not be working in a location where the company has an entity. Other potential tax issues emerged for employees working remotely on a permanent basis. Yet, even a temporarily remote employee can cause tax reporting and withholding complications in various locations, some of which require non-resident employers to register and withhold tax for an individual working in that area. A review of the tax presence or nexus of a company suddenly became necessary to ensure consistent and comprehensive tax compliance at a rate and intensity likely not experienced before. Consequently, ensuring tax compliance with a dramatically more distributed workforce is a clear priority, with corporate HR mobility professionals taking a variety of actions. For example, creating a consistent tax approach in addition to the following steps. 64.8% are working with the business and HR functions to develop an overall approach to remote work. 34.4% are creating a process for ongoing risk assessment. 40.2% are developing and establishing ongoing tracking of employees. 13.2% are considering other options. One surprising and significant finding is that slightly more than half, 54.1%, of respondents will not permit employees to work in locations in which the company does not have permanent establishment. In other words, they permit employees to only work in places where the organization is already established for tax purposes, which therefore could allow tax reporting and withholding. 36% of respondents said they would address the situation on a case-by-case basis. Ultimately, the corporate location strategy is a significant factor in the remote work policy and approach. But employers did not lightly make such a decision either way. A number of factors drove this decision, as indicated by participants. Organizations' willingness to allow employees to work in locations in which they do not have permanent establishment. 54.1% will not permit it. 36%. Case-by-case basis. 9.9% will permit it. The employee/job role decision. With remote work decisions often depending upon the role itself, corporate HR mobility professionals are examining the potential of each position to succeed for the foreseeable future outside of the traditional on-site workspace. Nearly three-quarters, 71.7%, are working to determine the options available to meet the circumstances of their business, that is, whether a position is permanently remote, permanently on-site, or perhaps a blend of the two scenarios whereby the employee spends time both off-site and in the office. Considerations involve factors such as: does the role require frequent in-person interaction? Is this role a leadership role, people manager, or individual contributor role? Has the individual in the role clearly demonstrated success in working from home during the pandemic? Does the location require an employee who possesses specific skills and/or expertise, for example, knowledge of the local market or culture? The decisions are not always cut and dried. Some roles are most suitable for on-premise work, while others can succeed in a fully remote situation. Yet, for some, a hybrid scenario is the best of both worlds, whereby the employee spends time on-site, as well as working remotely. These decisions involve a thorough appraisal of each role and responsibility. In light of the huge effort required to make sound decisions for each and every position, organizations are undertaking a major process, requiring vast amounts of time and resources. But this effort is critical in light of the new reality of a large segment of the workforce potentially remaining in remote positions in many organizations. The decision involves a number of pertinent factors to be considered, some of which focus on the individual, the job, and external points. Key factors in remote work decisions. Employee responsibility: does this employee have a higher or particular level of responsibility that would require their presence at the on-premise worksite? Employee function: would the employee's functions, or their primary tasks and duties, require them to be on-site? Job level: is this a senior-level employee, or a newer hire, who may have needed more on-site, in-person training before going remote? Performance: how has this employee performed in the past, and would employees with higher levels of performance operate similarly in the remote environment? Country or region: where is the employee physically working and where is the organization headquarters? Tenure: how long has the employee been working for the organization? Other factors might include individual preference if it is easier to work on site, a team environment for service delivery optimization, skill set, the ability to produce the required work output at the most efficient cost, and so on. With so much to weigh up, whether a role is best suited for the remote environment will often come down to a combination of each employee's past performance, current situation, and future potential for success.